Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 178 based on novel. So let's start. Ancient God Skin. Wang Lin's expression immediately darkened as he stared at the leather armor on the skeleton. He couldn't tell what feeling it was, but the moment he saw the armor, Wang Lin felt sorrow. He carefully looked again. This was indeed leather armor made from the skin of an ancient god. Although he didn't know how many stars this ancient god had, when looking at the leather armor, he thought of his original body. Li Yuan whispered, "Does Brother Shu know this thing?" Wang Lin shook his head and calmly said, "I don't know, but it looks similar to something a friend owned." Li Yuan didn't ask more but looked at the tree next to the skeleton and began to deduce. A moment later, his hands formed a seal and pointed at the tree. The 18-plum restriction immediately appeared and charged at the tree. One by one, the plum restrictions landed and then the space around the tree began to twist. Countless ripples appeared and even the skeleton below the tree began to twist. Finally, a sound like a mirror shattering echoed and everything before them suddenly collapsed. The tree was gone and the skeleton was gone as well. The only thing that remained before Li Yuan and Wang Lin's eyes was a transfer array that gave off a soft light. Li Yuan looked at the transfer array and said, "This is the third law of the 8 laws of celestial restrictions. Its main purpose is mirages. The skeleton we saw wasn't really lying under the tree, using the skeleton as bait to attract people and then kill them with this restriction. I can't begin to guess how many people have died over the years." Wang Lin nodded. He had also seen through this. If that skeleton was real, it would have been impossible for it to have remained intact for so long. This is a slaughter restriction. It looks like that leather armor is a very tempting celestial treasure. Li Yuan's eyes became cold. Wang Lin pondered a bit and slowly said, "I just don't know if this restriction was left by the Celestials or a trap set by someone who came later." Li Yuan also silently pondered. He was also pondering this question. Then he slowly said, "In any case, I can determine that this is the first time that this restriction has been broken. After all, I observed it for a long time and it showed no trace of having been reorganized. The time the restriction has been around also matches this." Wang Lin's eyes were focused as he slowly said, "It could be that some changes happened to the restriction over the years. This allowed some light to leak out and showed us the inside of the restriction." Li Yuan pondered slightly and nodded. What Brother Shu said contains some truth. There is 70% chance it is as Brother Shu said. Of course, there is also the chance that this was deliberately set by someone to kill and steal treasures. Wang Lin and Li Yuan were both astute people with extraordinary minds. The two only needed to discuss a bit to be able to calculate an answer infinitely close to the truth. Just at this moment, the transfer array that appeared after the restriction was broken began to show signs of instability. It was as if it had been hidden in the dark for so long that once it appeared, it began to conflict with the celestial spiritual energy in the surroundings. Countless small vortexes had appeared on the edge of the transfer array. This was a sign of collapse. Some illusions appeared form the vortexes. Although they were all fragments of images, one could see the wreckage of ancient buildings. Wang Lin and Li Yuan both noticed this at the same time and both of their eyes narrowed. Li Yuan laughed. "It looks like Brother Shu's speculation is correct. Why don't the two of us go and check it out?" Just as Wang Lin was about to speak, a powerful divine sense spread out. This divine sense was too powerful. It was as if the divine sense itself contained a spell. As it spread out, the clouds in the sky spread out as if didn't dare to provoke it and allowed the divine sense to scan this fragment at will. Li Yuan's expression changed. At the moment the divine sense swept by, he felt like it was even difficult to breathe. It was as if this divine sense was corporeal and was pressing down on his body like Mount Tai. It also caused the celestial spiritual energy in his body to go out of control and forced him to cough out a mouthful of blood. The divine sense originally only swept by, but then it immediately came back and locked onto this location. Wang Lin was even more shocked. This divine sense gave him a familiar feeling. However, at this moment, he immediately moved without any hesitation and charged toward the transfer array. Li Yuan's face was pale and he almost lost his wit as he followed closely behind Wang Lin. The two of them were originally not far away from the transfer array. At this moment, they moved very fast and got even closer to the array. However, the divine sense suddenly became crazy and the area within 1,000 feet of them suddenly became red. Strands of red smoke suddenly came out and became something like ghosts. They let out a sharp wails and charged at Wang Lin. Restriction. Wang Lin shouted as he grabbed Li Yuan and charged toward the transfer array. Li Yuan's astuteness was not weaker than Wang Lin's, so he immediately understood Wang Lin. If both of them attacked, it would slow them down. At this moment of crisis, Wang Lin focusing on speed while Li Yuan focused on attack was the best choice. While allowing Wang Lin to pull him, Li Yuan's hand moved rapidly and countless restrictions began to appear. The moment the restrictions appeared, they trembled and divided into 18. A large amount of restrictions appeared in almost an instant. A large amount of restrictions appeared and stopped the ghosts coming from the red smoke. Wang Lin didn't look back as he pulled Li Yuan to the edge of the transfer array. He was one step from entering the transfer array. Just at this moment, a cold snort came from the divine sense. Then a cold voice echoed in the area. Blood space, condense. The moment these three words appeared, a force immediately began to squeeze this 1,000 feet area. The space rapidly solidified as if was trying to freeze everything within this area. Wang Lin was only one step from the transfer array. However, after he raised his foot to take the step, it was as if an entire mountain was tied to his back and his step slowed down. Even his body felt countless powerful treasures squeezing him as if they wanted to keep him in place. Not only Wang Lin, but Li Yuan also felt this. This power was simply too powerful, it was comparable to the heaven's might. It was as if an invisible hand has fallen from the sky and grabbed hold of this 1,000 feet area. Its 5 fingers slowly closed in as if it wanted to crush this area. Wang Lin's face was pale and cold sweat filled his forehead. He couldn't even lift his hand to take out a magical treasure. He could vaguely see a flash of red light charging toward this location from the distant void. A red figure was quickly condensing within the red light. A sense of hatred was coming from inside the red light. This was a hatred that carried over across 2 star systems. The killing intent within was unimaginable. During the moment of life and death crisis, Wang Lin opened his third eye without any hesitation. At this moment, a fan-shaped red light opened and he barely managed to turn his head. This red light didn't shine toward the void but toward Li Yuan. The force holding Li Yuan down immediately loosened when the red light shined on him. His face was pale, but he quickly raised his right hand and pressed it down between his eyebrows without any hesitation. A black line as thick as a baby's arm immediately flew out from between his eyebrows. It quickly turned into a rune before him and Li Yuan shouted, "Annihilation Restriction Heart." In an instant, the restriction began to flash rapidly and expanded like crazy. At the moment the red shadow closed in, it collapsed. Boom! A loud sound suddenly echoed and set off a huge shockwave, causing the force holding down the area to become unstable. The restriction wasn't destroyed, it shattered into thousands of smaller black lines that formed various strange patterns that rapidly spread. These restrictions had a strange connection between them, and the wider they spread, the more pale Li Yuan became. It was obvious that using the real annihilation restriction was a big burden on his body. Seal. With one word, these restrictions immediately surrounded the area. They appeared near the red shadow and gathered toward it. The red shadow gave off a bright, red glow, creating a blood sea in the sky, and immediately charged out as the restrictions closed in on it. However, just at this moment, the restrictions all exploded, creating a thunderous echo. The entire fragment showed signs of instability as if it was about to collapse. The moment the force holding them down loosened, Wang Lin grabbed Li Yuan and stepped into the transfer array that was about to collapse. The transfer array flashed and Wang Lin and Li Yuan instantly disappeared. At the moment they vanished, Wang Lin's left hand mercilessly smashed down on the array, causing it to immediately dissipate. The surrounding area was completely silent. The blood-red figure slowly walked over. He stood before where the transfer array was and silently pondered. After a long time, He raised his right foot and mercilessly stomped the ground. A large crack appeared under his feet and spread out like a crazy dragon across the fragment. The crack split again and again until the entire fragment was covered in terrifying cracks. The power from a cultivator beyond the Nirvana Scryer stage is above the limit of the Thunder Celestial Realm. A storm spread across the fragment and countless cracks appeared all over it. At this moment, even countless spatial rifts appeared in the sky. The Earth collapsed. This fragment of the Thunder Celestial Realm collapsed under the stomp of this red shadow. Large amounts of Earth collapsed and dissipated, causing a huge series of chain reactions. More and more spatial cracks that continued to devour everything appeared in the sky. The ground continued to break off into the void. Some were devoured by the spatial rifts and disappeared without a trace. Half an hour later, the sky was no longer sky and the Earth became nothing. One of the remaining fragments in the Thunder Celestial Realm had disappeared forever. This dramatic change terrified the few All-Heaven star system cultivators on the fragment. They all tried like crazy to leave this fragment. The fear of death made them lose their wit. However, not many could escape the collapse of a fragment. The collapse of the fragment caused a vortex that looked like it was going to devour everything. Far away, one could see the thunder chains being sucked toward the center of the vortex. These chains were pulled until they were straight. Their movement immediately affected the connected fragments. A loud rumble echoed across the Thunder Celestial Realm and then the entire Thunder Celestial Realm began to slowly move. However, the person who caused all of this didn't care about any of this. Even if the entire Thunder Celestial Realm collapsed, he wouldn't care. All he wanted was his daughter. Little brat Wang Lin, you won't be able to escape next time. The red figure turned and disappeared with a single step. This person was the Blood Ancestor. Ever since arriving at the Thunder Celestial Realm, he didn't seek any treasures and moved as fast as possible across various fragments. Every time he arrived at a fragment, he would scan it with his divine sense and then leave. The sky was dim and there were sometimes flashes of restriction light coming from the sky. Looking up from the ground, the sky wasn't tall at all, and combined with the darkness, it gave off a powerful sense of oppression. On the ground, there were many small hills that craved a rugged valley. The surroundings were very quiet. Spatial cracks would occasionally appear in the sky and release cold, howling wind. This was the only sound here. An altar about 100 feet tall stood there with numerous steps leading to the top. The altar was damaged and had many cracks, including several that even extend to the top. At this moment, a flash of light appeared on the platform at the top of the altar and two figures appeared. Wang Lin stepped out with an extremely gloomy expression. His mood was still affected by what had happened before. What happened before made him realize just how close death was. If it wasn't for him having the spell with the third eye, the situation would have been bad. Similarly, if Li Yuan's annihilation restriction wasn't there, even with the transfer array before him, he still wouldn't have been able to escape. Blood Ancestor, Wang Lin frowned. At this moment, Li Yuan also walked out from the transfer array. Blood was coming out of his mouth when he appeared. He immediately sat down and began to cultivate. While Wang Lin pondered, he sat down and protected Li Yuan. At the same time, his divine sense spread out and observed the area. Shortly after, he withdrew his divine sense and his express became even more gloomy. The spatial rifts in the sky could devour divine sense. Once his divine sense spread out, it could also attract those spatial rifts. Although it is like this, at least this place is safe. Wang Lin silently looked at the distant valley and began to ponder. The Blood Ancestor actually came to the All-Heaven star system. When he appeared, he didn't even give me a chance to speak and tried to capture me. He was obviously ready to search my soul to find where Yarrow Shishua is. Wang Lin touched his bag of holding. If I hand over Yarrow Shishua, will the Blood Ancestor still come after me? Wang Lin pondered for a moment and the Celestial Guard walked out to guard Li Yuan. Then he waved his hand and cut off his surroundings. After that, he slapped his bag of holding and a restriction ball flew out. It grew to the size of a person and opened up like a lotus. When the restriction ball opened, Yarrow Shishua's long hair covered her shoulders as she sat in the lotus position. The 100 years of imprisonment had made her rather fragile. At this moment, her eyelashes moved and she opened her eyes. When she saw Wang Lin, her eyes showed confusion for a moment, but it was immediately replaced with clarity. There was no joy or anger in her expression as she calmly looked at Wang Lin. After a long time, her mouth revealed a hint of mockery and she said, "I can feel the remnant of father's blood spell. I can also feel your fear." Wang Lin silently stared at Yarrow Shishue. "Do you want to let me go? Or do you want to beg me to ask my father to not kill you?" "Wang Lin, am I correct?" The mockery from Yarrow Shishue's mouth became even stronger. "I can let my father spare your life because I won't let you die so easily." The calmness disappeared from Yarrow Shishue's eyes and was replaced with a deep sense of hatred. Wang Lin frowned and said, "So you're saying that whether I let you go or not, my fate is the same?" Yarrow Shishue looked at Wang Lin and coldly said, "You won't dare to kill me because killing me is the same as freeing me. If you seal me somewhere, you will have to face my father's eternal pursuit. One day, my father will find you and I'll escape." As Wang Lin stared at Yarrow Shishue, his eyes became cold. He quickly formed a few more restrictions that landed on Yarrow Shishue's body. The restriction ball shrank once more into a ball of light and Wang Lin put it away inside his bag. He then stood up, looked up into the distance, and began to ponder. "Let you go, or not let you go, that does not depend on me, but on the blood ancestor." Wang Lin's eyes were fierce. Then, with a thought, he removed the surrounding restriction and looked at Li Yuan. A moment later, Li Yuan slowly opened his eyes and let out a mouth of foul air. He slowly opened his eyes, revealing fear, and asked, "Brother Shu, who is that person?" Wang Lin let out a sigh. After retreating a few steps, he clasped his hands at Li Yuan and said, "I have burdened Brother Li on this matter. That person is called the Blood Ancestor. His cultivation is unfathomable and I have some grievance with him. When you and I leave, you should go first before you get any more implicated." Li Yuan wryly smiled and said, "Brother Shu, that person's cultivation is no ordinary second-step cultivation. My annihilation restriction is only at the 4th level, but even though I used it with the restriction heart, he was still able to escape. I fear this person's cultivation level is higher than the Nirvana Shatterer stage. He is at least at the Nirvana Cleanser stage. With this cultivation, it is a top-tier existence in the All-Heaven star system. How did you provoke such a person? Alas! If my annihilation restriction had reached the 7th level, then I might have been able to seal him." Wang Lin was calm as he slowly said, "Brother Li, let us find the exit first. We can talk once we leave." Li Yuan let out a sign. After pondering for a moment, he said, "Although that person's cultivation level is high, if we don't provoke him, it's not as if there aren't any ways to avoid him. Forget it, let's do what you said and look for an exit first." After he spoke, he stood up and looked around. Wang Lin slowly said as he looked at the valley in the distance, "You can't spread out your divine sense, as there are spatial cracks that devour it." Li Yuan's eyes revealed a strange light. He jumped off the altar and grabbed a handful of dirt. After taking a closer look, he moved forward and jumped onto a tree. After breaking off a branch, he put it in his mouth and the strange light in his eyes became even stronger. "Brother Shu, let me borrow your puppet." Li Yuan slowly flew into the air and spatial cracks immediately appeared in the air as if they wanted to devour him. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. When he saw Li Yuan's actions, he felt that Li Yuan had just discovered something new. With a thought, the Celestial Guard immediately jumped up next to Li Yuan. If a crack was to appear, the Celestial Guard would immediately punch the void to create a vortex to diffuse the crack. Although the effect wasn't good, it still had some effect. As Li Yuan flew higher and higher, more spatial cracks appeared. The Celestial Guard was like a golden whirlwind that surrounded Li Yuan and gave off a constant streams of rumbles. As Li Yuan rose into the air, he looked into the distance. His eyes were filled with shock and a hint of disbelief. Just at this moment, a crack several times larger than normal appeared below him. The crack that suddenly appeared gave off a powerful suction force that tried to devour Li Yuan. Li Yuan's expression changed and even more cracks appeared beside him. With so many cracks, not even the Celestial Guard was fast enough. They suddenly fell into a crisis. Wang Lin stepped forward and slapped his bag of holding, causing the mountain and river screen to appear. The mountain and river painting covered the sky and immediately absorbed most of the spatial cracks. Wang Lin took this opportunity to charge forth and drag Li Yuan back. At the moment the crack below Li Yuan attempted to devour them, the two and the celestial guard instantly returned back to the ground. The painting in the sky looked as if it was torn with many small openings and looked as if it was damaged. Wang Lin's expression was serious as he waved his right hand and the painting in the sky disappeared. The screen returned to his hand and he put it away inside his bag. "Brother Shu, do you know what this place is?" Li Yuan's face revealed excitement and his eyes were still filled with disbelief. He took a deep breath and excitedly said, "Brother Shu, Celestials rarely used bags of holding. In general, they often opened up their own spaces. Once the Celestials die, these spaces do not collapse, but it is very difficult to open them once more." Wang Lin was startled and his expression immediately changed. He asked, "Does Brother Li mean to say that our current location is within a celestial storage space?" Li Yuan laughed. His eyes were filled even more excitement and he nodded. "Yes, it must be that this place is quite old and that the space became unstable, so cracks appeared. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for us to enter here. The dirt here was moved here from outside. Not even the mountain and tree belong here, they were all brought in from outside." Wang Lin's eyes revealed a mysterious light and he slowly said, "Brother Li, if this place were to collapse, would everything inside shatter with it?" Li Yuan was startled and he nodded. "Yes, this place is not a fragment like the outside. Once this place collapses, a powerful force will immediately cause everything inside to collapse as well, leaving nothing behind. However, Brother Bu can be at ease, because if there are no external interferences, then this place shouldn't collapse. Unless, could you?" As Li Yuan spoke, he suddenly thought of something and sucked in a breath of cold air. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he softly said, "If that is so, then perhaps I can set up a trap to deal with the blood ancestor." Li Yuan's eyes revealed admiration, and he was shocked by Wang Lin's bold idea. After all, the difference in cultivation levels was simply too big. If it was someone else, even Li Yuan himself, the first thing they would think of was to escape. Even if it meant escaping to the edge of the world or hiding in remote places for hundreds or even thousands of years. As long as they could escape that powerful cultivator, it would be worth it. He wouldn't even think about how to resist, because the difference was as big as heaven and earth. In Li Yuan's view, Wang Lin's view was close to madness but at the same time ingenious. If planned correctly, it might really succeed. Thinking about this, Li Yuan's heart pounded. The stimulation caused by the temptation of killing a cultivator, at least at the Nirvana cleanser stage, made his blood flow increase and his heart pound. "Brother Shu, we're all but trying to kill a god." As Li Yuan said, this was almost equal to trying to kill a god. Although the blood ancestor might not match a celestial general, he would have still been considered a powerhouse in the celestial realm before it was destroyed. None of the lower-level cultivators would dare to fight against him. Wang Lin licked his lip and said, "I still require Brother Li's help on this matter. After the event is over, I'll definitely reward Brother Li." Li Yuan pondered a bit. The excitement from before had made his throat dry. Now he looked at Wang Lin and said, "Brother Li doesn't need to thank me. What you saved was not just me but generations of the Li family. Isn't it just killing a god? How could I not help with such an exciting thing?" Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he slowly said, "That blood ancestor is not that easy to kill, so this will require careful planning. Before we act, Brother Li can leave first." Li Yuan pondered and said, "This matter is easy, but Brother Shu, before this, we should search this storage space so we don't leave any treasures behind. I'll also set up several restrictions at key point to cause the collapse." The two of them smiled at each other. They no longer wasted time talking and moved forward. The sky wasn't the only place where spatial cracks would appear, some would even appear on the ground. However, with how cautious the two of them were, they safely moved forward toward the valley ahead. The valley had mountains with many trees growing on them. As they walked by, Wang Lin stopped, looked at the mountain, and pondered. He placed his right hand against the mountain and quickly spread out and retrieved his divine sense. When Li Yuan flew up into the sky earlier, he saw 2 mountains and 3 valleys. Right now Wang Lin was looking at the mountain, and he felt an aura similar to the celestial mountain inside his bag. With an idea in mind, Wang Lin withdrew his right hand. Not long after, the first valley appeared before the two of them. The entrance of the valley was very large, about several dozen feet wide. At a glance there was nothing inside, but there was a thin layer or mist that gave off an illusory feeling. At the entrance of the valley, Wang Lin and Li Yuan stopped to carefully observe the valley. There is a simple restriction here. It won't be hard to crack it. Li Yuan's hand formed a seal and several restrictions appeared. These restrictions emitted light as they went into the mist within the valley. A rustling sound echoed and the mist quickly dissipated without a trace. Li Yuan smiled and was about to step forward. Just at this moment, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he grabbed Li Yuan and said, "Brother Li, wait." Li Yuan was startled and looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression didn't change as the celestial guard behind him charged out without any hesitation. However, the moment the celestial guard entered, the mist suddenly reappeared. The mist formed arrows and shot them toward the celestial guard. There was a series of loud explosions. Even with the celestial guard's powerful body, it was pushed back by the arrow. It wasn't until the celestial guard was pushed outside the valley that the mist settled down again. Li Yuan felt ashamed. He was not a reckless person, but he was just too self-confident in his restriction. He let out a wry smile and said, "The owner of this storage space was too insidious. This restriction was obviously set up to kill someone who is confident in their restrictions like me." Wang Lin's eyes lit up and with a thought the celestial guard charged out once more. This time its body was glowing gold, and the moment it stepped into the valley, it threw a punch. The powerful punch created a huge vortex that immediately stirred up all the mist arrows flying at it. Wang Lin immediately stepped into the valley without hesitation and Li Yuan immediately followed. After entering the valley, Li Yuan immediately created several restrictions that landed within the valley. Then Li Yuan began to deduce as he looked around the valley. Often he would deduce a location and lay down a restriction there. Wang Lin didn't look at Li Yuan. After he entered the valley, he waved his right hand. The thunder inside his origin soul rushed out and formed a ball of thunder in his hand. The ball of thunder charged out toward the vortex created by the celestial guard. With a bang, the ball of thunder entered the vortex and thunder immediately filled the vortex. The vortex seemed to have frozen in place and began absorbing all the mist around it. "Brother Shu, I have marked the restriction eyes in the south and east corner. Once those collapse, the restriction in the valley will break." Li Yuan's arms spread out and restrictions appeared in each hand as he charged toward the cliff to the southeast. With a thought, Wang Lin commanded the celestial guard to charge south toward where Li Yuan said the restriction eye was. Just before Li Yuan's restriction landed, the celestial guard's punch landed on the cliff. At the same time, thunder condensed in Wang Lin's right hand and shot out toward the restriction marked by Li Yuan to the east. The thunder accurately landed on the restriction eye before Li Yuan's restriction. Two loud explosions echoed and the restrictions placed by Li Yuan suddenly erupted at once. A huge whirlwind appeared within the valley and swept away all the mist. A moment later, the whirlwind disappeared and the valley returned to normal, revealing a scene that couldn't be seen before. A black short sword was stabbed into the ground, and around it were 8 ferocious beast skulls. A faint mist was coming from the 8 skulls and formed a circle around the short sword. Li Yuan looked at the short sword and slowly said, "Presumably this is the treasure stored in the first valley. Brother Shu, do you want the short sword or the surrounding 8 beast skulls?" Wang Lin took a glance and could tell that this short sword was not normal. However, Li Yuan was of great help to him and he didn't want to take something he liked. He laughed and said, "This short sword is probably not normal, and breaking this restriction was largely thanks to Brother Li. I merely helped a bit, so I'll take these 8 skulls." With that, Wang Lin waved his sleeves and the 8 skulls immediately flew into his hands. He scanned them with his divine sense and was immediately startled. But on the surface, Wang Lin was calm as he put them away. Li Yuan smiled as he grabbed the short sword. He looked at Wang Lin and laughed. "Many thanks, Brother Shu." Not far after traveling through the first valley, they saw the entrance to the second valley. The entrance was much smaller than the first valley's entrance. The closer they got to the second valley, the more frequent the cracks appeared, making them have to be extra careful while traveling. However, when they were 5 kilometers from the second valley, there was no road left. There were simply too many cracks in these last 5 kilometers. They quickly appeared all over the road, blocking off all paths and making it impossible to get through. Li Yuan frowned. If they were restrictions, he would have been able to break them, but these weren't restrictions at all. After pondering a bit, Li Yuan said, "Brother Shu, this might be a bit troublesome. We can't teleport at all inside the storage space." Wang Lin looked at the valley entrance in the distance and slowly said, "Brother Li, wait here for a moment. I have a way to enter this place." Wang Lin took a deep breath and sat down in the lotus position. His 2 fingers quickly pointed at several locations on his body. Every time he pointed at a spot, his face would turn slightly redder. At the end, when Wang Lin pointed the 9th time, his face was fiery red. Wang Lin slowly stood up and inhaled. The fiery red on his face immediately disappeared. Just at this instant, he slapped his bag of holding and the mountain and river screen appeared. The painting immediately stretched more than 10,000 feet and all the cracks disappeared as if they were patched. At the moment the mountain and river painting appeared, the celestial guard grabbed Wang Lin and mercilessly threw him forward. This throw used almost all of the celestial guard's strength, so Wang Lin's speed reached a terrifying level. In an instant, he charged out more than 2.5 kilometers. However, there were simply too many cracks. The moment the mountain and river painting appeared, countless tears appeared on the painting. These openings were like large mouths that wanted to devour Wang Lin. Wang Lin was able to get this far due to borrowing the power of the celestial guard. Before that force was gone, Wang Lin released a blood glow and the spell he had saved in his body burst forth, causing him to shoot out at an unimaginable speed once more. His body flashed blood red and his speed increased. It then flashed again and he became even faster. In the blink of an eye, his body flashed blood red 9 times and his speed was as fast as teleportation. This escape spell that used the bloodlight was the fastest escape spell he had learned from the old man from the demon spirit land. However, this spell couldn't be used unless his cultivation was at the peak of the late stage of ascendant, or else his body would explode. In an instant, Wang Lin's figure appeared at the entrance of the second valley. His face was pale and he almost fell over. He waved his right hand and the mountain and river screen returned to his hand. Looking back, he could see Li Yuan's figure 5 kilometers away. This video will end here.